Welcome back to Radio The Bunk, the Drive Time Show, 99.5 FM with your RJ आयशा। और मेरे ख्याल से हम Facebook लाइव हो चुके हैं अभी, तो जो लोग ट्यून इन करना चाहें वो Facebook पे आप हमें देख सकते हैं। I'm very honored to introduce Pallavi Ahluwalia, who manages and the director of a boutique a company, law offices. Pallavi, how are you doing? Pallavi, hi.
How are you, Aisha?
Good.
To be here today evening with you.
I am so glad to have you, and thank you for taking the time out. I know this is a time that you're taking with your family just to relax.
No, but this is a pleasure and this is a commitment. Glad to be here.
Thank you.
For
Thank
the Houston
you.
community and to be able to answer questions.
We
live
value
on the air with you.
your level of commitment. This is the kind of commitment she shows to her cases as well. Let's introduce you a little bit to our listeners so they know who they're actually talking to. And I think anything I will say is going to be a little short of what you actually can accomplish. Pallavi, the mic is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Aisha. Been an attorney in the Dallas area for many years, and we have now in Houston, and we're here to be able to help with any immigration matters that the community has for us. Of course, we also do family law and corporate matters. And at this time, we would be welcoming all our callers. This is my time or my commitment to be with you once a week and to be able to take questions live on the air. And we hope to be able to answer whatever you have for us right here when we are talking to Aisha.
Wonderful, wonderful. And this is not your first time because you've done, you've come on a lot of radio shows. You've also come on TV and you've done the same kind of thing before. What is behind your interest in getting involved with the community at this level? And I've also seen that you're involved in many other organizations. So I'm not even going to ask how you spend or divide your day. That's just a lot of commitment to the community.
Well, for me, I thrive on my interactions with people. There's nothing better for me than to be able to connect one-on-one and to be able to talk to them. So this gives me my energy boost. It's my dose of energy. This is my communication. I love it.
Wonderful.
And I'm here to be able to answer questions again. And yes, we've been doing this for many, many years. Radios, East Coast, Dallas for many, many years.
Yes.
Almost, I'd like to say over 16 years now.
Right.
And to different journalists all over the country. I'm glad to be doing that.
Thank you. We're happy to have you with us. Pallavi is the owner of Ahluwalia Law Offices, just to kind of give you information before I take your calls. This is a leading boutique law firm known to many in the immigrant communities, and she deals with family law, civil litigation issues. She advises immigrants in several categories of H-1B, L-1, EB-1, 2, and 5, and their subcategories. And she takes on cases of family immigration matters and all forms of immigration for the rights and the relief of the individual client. If you have any questions, I think it would be preferable that you send me the questions on WhatsApp on 713-974-4000. But if you would like to call and speak with Pallavi yourself, you're more than welcome to do so. I think this would be the time. We have her on air for a good 20 minutes, and we'll have a fun conversation about that. Pallavi, out of all the cases that you have addressed, and I know you're the kind of person that gets thrilled in the harder it is, the more you like to solve it. When I was reading your, I went to your website. By the way, you can visit her website on yourdesilawyer.com. I was reading how the more complicated it is, the more you take pride in solving that.
Correct. Of course. I mean, that would be for any professional. We're glad to do what we do. And if it is that I run a regular case and it gets approved, I'm very thrilled because, of course, but once we get challenged by the government.
Yes.
And here we're not arguing in a courtroom. We're arguing to the USCIS, to the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service. And we get a victory out of that. That is something that gives us immense pleasure because it's something that was more hard won. It was more, took more of our skill to get that in.
Right.
And of course, we have to work within the parameters of the law.
Yes.
And explain to people also do this ethically. And I think the best thing that we can do is that we tell our client what to expect. I think communication with our client to understand how the law would work and what results they should expect out of it are key.
Yeah, you've always, even through your pages, social media pages, you've kept people updated about the latest immigration changes and immigration law changes. What do you think were the biggest changes in the new administration when it came into power?
Oh, well, so for right now, I think there have been minor changes. There have been, the so-called, what we call the Muslim ban that was taken back. It was an executive order by the previous president in which a lot of countries, which the previous administration had told us were not secure, but coincidentally, a lot of them were, of Muslim origin, were not allowed to come in here except if they had to get some special waivers to be able to come in and to show why they were allowed entry into the country. So which resulted in a lot of people being separated from their families and not being able to come into the country. And now that was one big thing that was done. There were some other impacts also, again, executive orders which were kind of pushed aside. But right now, I think what we've been waiting for, and we're still kind of being a little, I'd like to say, impatient about, is we want to see major reform. So we have a lot of undocumented population in the United States. I'd say about 11 million people are here.
Yeah.
And there has to be some reprieve that we get for them. So just as if on cue, we have the New York Times that said if President Biden were to get his way, it would soon be easier to immigrate to the U.S.
Okay.
There will be shorter, simpler forms. Applicants will have to jump through fewer security hoops, and foreigners will have better opportunities to join the families and more chances to secure work visas. Now, this is based on a 46-page draft blueprint obtained by the New York Times that the Biden administration plans to significantly expand the legal immigration system. So this is what we're waiting for. It's not official.
It's not official.
It's not official, but it's something that we are all looking forward to and expecting soon.
So it's in the works. It's being reviewed, but it's not implemented yet.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
I have a question, and questions are starting to come now. And I'm not going to say the name. I'm just going to keep this private for you. But
Sure.
This is the person whose last four digits of the number are 1436. And they said that my work permit I filed for asylum and I missed my biometric. Since I missed my biometric, my work permit has been denied. Is there a way to get my work permit back? My work permit was not renewed because I missed my biometric, is what he's saying.
Unfortunately, this would require a refiling.
Okay.
So if you miss an appointment, the burden becomes on the person who's missed an appointment. The USCIS is not willing to give a pass, unfortunately, to anyone that is missing their appointments.
Yeah.
So it would require a refile.
So refiling for asylum?
No, for the work permit.
For the work
for
permit.
The 760.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be the form I-765, and
Okay.
that would have to be redone. And the caller will have to be conscious and know about what's going on with their appointments. Keep track of the receipt notice.
Okay.
Keep track of the fingerprinting, and then show up.
Okay. I'm sorry, you send me on text because I cannot play your question. I would be happy to answer your question. This person whose number is ending with 7777, you send me a voice note. Instead of sending me a voice note, if you could type it out, I'll be able to answer your question and I will address it to Pallavi and I'll be more than happy to, but I will not be able to play your voice note. So please do it that way and I'll be happy to answer that. Yes, so he's saying my work permit was not renewed because I missed my biometric. They're asking, they're not renewing it for him, is what he's saying.
Yeah, they won't renew it. So that's the reason it is. The renewal will have to be a refile.
Okay.
It will require a refile.
Yeah, so, and the form, if you can repeat that again.
I-765.
I-765 को दोबारा से फाइल करें और उसके थ्रू देखें तो फिर आपका काम हो जाएगा. और अगर आप पल्लवी के साथ कांटेक्ट करना चाहते हैं अपने इस मसले को डिस्कस करने के लिए तो you can visit her website at yourdesiLawyer.com yourdesiLawyer.com. Okay, he's like, thank you so much. I have her information. I hope she can do it for me. That's very nice. And somebody else is typing. While they're typing their question, I'm going to ask you a few questions. What is the most common difficulty that you face with these immigration things? Is it the lack of information from the client side? Is it the delay in the processing at the USCIS level because of the pandemic? Or is it the frequently changing laws related to these things? Especially in the past year and a half, a lot of people have had a lot of issues related to immigration.
You said it very well. It's actually all of the above. It's not one or the over the other.
Okay.
It is changing rules. It is sometimes information that is difficult for the client to produce,
right,
and to obtain, and meet the requirements of every form.
Okay.
And a lot of times there are also delays. So from a standpoint of what the client can expect, if your documents and all are in order, at least you won't face any delays from your attorney's end, from our end, in sending the case out. But once it's with the government, then there are processing delays. Every form has a different processing timeline.
Right.
And that's something that you have to be conscious about.
Yes, absolutely. There's another question from the person whose number ends with 8373. The question is, I applied for my married daughter. I'm a U.S. citizen. She lives in Pakistan. We applied in April of 2013. What is the processing period for her?
April of 2013 is what I heard?
Yes.
For a married child from Pakistan.
For a married daughter, yes.
Yes, okay. So married child from Pakistan, the final action date that the government is looking at is September 1st of 2008. We're still a little while away from that. And right now they are processing or starting the National Visa Center paperwork, which is August 1st of 2009. So the question back to the caller would be, do they have their I-130 approved or not yet?
Have I-130 approved. I just want to clarify that you heard that, they're currently processing applications from September of 2008. So you're still 5 years ahead. Is that correct? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, so basically they still have time to wait this out. Every month, the visa bulletin does not move by a month.
Okay.
So there may be more than 5 years that they're looking at in terms of delays.
Okay.
But they should at least have their I-130 approved. So, and there's one more advice I'd like to give.
Yes.
If you have any changes in addresses, you have to keep the government informed.
Yes.
Otherwise, you would. So we have a lot of people, unfortunately, that come 10 years later or 12 years later, and they've had denials that they did not know about.
Because they never updated their addresses. Okay.
Correct.
Oh,
so the government couldn't inform them.
So, sir or madam, let's see who it is. Ma'am, I think I-130 receive होना और approve होना दो अलग-अलग चीजें हैं. Receive तो उन्होंने कर लिया है, but you have to tell me whether it's approved or not. She says it's received, but she doesn't know if it's approved. So that's the kind of question from her side.
And if she has changed her address, then I get worried, because if it's been since 2013, that's a good 9 years back. So it should not have been received. It should have been approved by now.
It should have been approved.
Way approved.
Yes.
So she'll have to go to uscis.gov, put in her case number, and see what pulls up for her.
Okay.
And then she'll have to do some status inquiries by calling the 800 number and see if the government would tell her what's going on with her case if she still has not received the I-130 approval.
So even though it hasn't been, let's say, processed yet, or is still in the process, her I-130 should have been approved if it was applied in 2013.
It should have been.
It should have been.
It's nine. Yeah, it's 9 years now.
आप tell me 8373 जो आपका लास्ट जो नंबर है डिजिट्स हैं, आप मुझे बताएं कि आपने उनको कांटेक्ट करने की कोशिश की है या आपने उस दौरान में अपना एड्रेस तो चेंज नहीं किया, बिकॉज इफ यू हैव डन दैट यू विल हैव टू कॉल देम एंड अपडेट योर स्टफ बिकॉज you're not going to get the information. Actually go to the USCIS के वेबसाइट पे जाएं, अपना जो वो केस नंबर है वो डालें और देखें कि उसमें क्या पुल अप होता है. That will give you an answer. Moving on to the next question. It's a little bit long, so bear with me. I'm going to try to summarize it for you. So,
No problem.
so there's this person, उनका last digits हैं 7777. वो कहते हैं कि I got a green card through my wife. She's a born citizen in 2013. Oh man, 2013. That's really young. Okay, I can't even know the age, but okay, she's a born citizen 2013. I used to come to the USA with my green card every 3 months till 2019. But now from the past 2 years, I've lived in USA for 11 months, and now I will finish my 18 months out of 36 months next year. But none of my trip in USA is more than 4 months in the last 3 years. Did you get that part?
Yeah, I did get that.
Okay.
part.
Am I eligible to apply for N40? I've been out of USA for more than 4 months also.
Yeah. So it's N400. He's talking about his citizenship application.
Okay.
So out of the last 3 years, he must have had at least a year and a half of physical presence in the United States. Okay. And then he should have been in the particular county that he's going to be applying from for at least 90 days. So that calculation has to be done to be able to ensure that he is eligible for his N400 or not, so for his citizenship application or not.
So in the last 3 years, it has to be a year and a half, is what you're saying?
Yeah, so and no stays abroad for over 6 months.
No stays abroad for almost 6 months, and he's only been at a time for 4 months. So that
so
doesn't
he's-
qualify.
So, yeah, so if he reset his status by stepping out of the country for over six months, over 180 days, then he gets reset to the next time he enters.
Okay.
Now he's got to go forward 3 years again, and then
Oh.
check back again.
Okay.
If he lives abroad mainly, then that would be a bit harder
Yeah.
for him to do because he has to show physical presence in the country. So there are two conditions of an N400 application. The law says you must have continuous residence
Yes.
and physical presence, and he has to meet both those. So he does have continuous residence because he's been a resident for a while, but he does not have the physical presence in the country.
Okay. So the question is, have you been in one stretch been here in the last 3 years for more than 1.5 months and 1.5 year, and 1.5 year is 18 months. If in the last 3 years you've been here for 18 months, and you have not been out of the country for more than 6 months at a time, then it will. But otherwise, every time you spend more than 6 months outside, it kind of resets the date. Am I going right now?
Correct.
Okay, good.
You said that very well.
Okay.
Truly to the physician that you are also. You got that right.
Well, I think my next step is
All right.
being a lawyer. I've tried everything else.
Okay, well, yes, well, we have a physician who's reading the law with me, so this is great.
Oh, this is
Thank
amazing.
you, Aisha.
And I'm learning so much too. So thank you so much. They're like, okay, thank you so much. I think their question was answered. Then you can apply for N400 and good luck with that. Let's talk a little bit about H-1B visas. Are they easy to get now as they were, like, say, even 10 years ago?
Well, they've gone through cycles up and down. There were some administrations that encouraged H-1s. There were some that, even though they encouraged H-1s, were conscious about the fraud that exists in the system. So they tried to clear that out, and that was President Obama's time.
Yeah.
And the last several years were tough on H-1. So let me just explain the process. So for anyone to get an H-1B through a new system which would undertake a lottery, the system has now changed where the lottery starts on the 1st of March, and it's an online registration, and after the online registration is done, and cases go through a rotation and get picked up, and then the government invites the people who are picked up to go and apply for the H-1. So that's how that works, and once that part is done and you get approved, then your H-1 would allow you to start working on the 1st of October. If you're part of the lottery, then you can keep transferring your H-1. You can go extend it with the same employer.
Okay.
You can go transfer it to another employer. So that's how the system works.
Right.
So for students, their chance to get into the H1 is by applying in the beginning of the year in March and getting registered, getting selected, then applying. Now, most past years, the rate of selection was 1 in 3 cases got picked. So 85,000 being the total number, 240,000 applicants or so. And now this year it was close to 300,000 applicants. So the chances are almost like 1 in 4 now.
1 in 4. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. How long does it take when you come on an H-1B visa, for example, and somebody has employed you? How long does it take before you can ask them to apply for your green card, your employer?
Well, it depends on every employer as to what their policies are. It's not a requirement.
I see.
That they sponsor you for a green card. But if they were to be pleased with your employment and they offer it, they can do it as soon as they want to, as soon as you start your H-1B. Or the latest that they should start out the entire process would be at, say, the 4.5-year mark. Because by the 5th year, if your case is applied for, then you have ways to extend your H-1, which you won't otherwise.
Okay, so that answers the question about H-1B. There's another thing before we let you go, and then we want to talk about this. I want to emphasize the fact that we're going to be doing this question Q&As every Tuesday around the same time with Pallavi, because she wants to be a part of Radio Dabang and she wants to be communicating with her listeners quite frequently. So don't worry, even if your questions are not answered this time, because this is the first show and we're just starting it off. We're just kind of warming up right now. You will have multiple opportunities every week, every Tuesday around 5, between 5 and 5:30, so to speak. You'll have the opportunity to send your questions in, and also Pallavi will answer them for you. Before we move on and let you enjoy your time off, there's one last question that I need to ask you. And that's something that from personal experience, I saw happening a lot over here. When I moved here 4.5 years ago, I saw people come here on visit visas, and then they were trying to change their visit visas to residence, and they were trying to find loopholes around that. What do you think is kind of the negative of that? Because I think a lot of people have messed up their cases by doing so.
Yeah, because yes, a very good point, Aisha. The jump from a visit visa to a residence is a hard jump to take. You have to fall into a different non-immigrant status before you jump to the green card, because the green card process itself takes time, and if it falls anywhere, then it leaves you without status at all. So the better way, if somebody is in the studying part, would be an F1, and we don't even tell, if someone enters the country for 90 days, they're not even supposed to change their status, because you cannot show your intent that you actually wanted this quick B2 visa to enter the U.S. and then you really didn't want to leave.
Right.
Okay, so the government has penalties for you if you do that. So for 90 days, nothing to be done. After 90 days, if you were to consider, you have a student pass, and then the other part that's open to a lot of different nationalities, unfortunately not to Indians, would be the E2 part. E2 is an investor category, in which you can come and start any business. It doesn't have to be high tech. It could be any business that you could employ 2 or 3 people in and transfer about $80,000, more or less, from your home country. It could be Bangladesh. It could be Pakistan. They're both eligible for that. And then start a new business, do your corporate work right, and then invest the money right, start your business, and then get an E2 from there. So that's one possibility for you to be able to look at. Getting straight to H-1B would not be possible. So different categories have to be looked at. We're the last ones that would tell our people, clients that consult with us, that stay back and file for anything, because that's bad advice.
Yeah, because that's technically you're lying to the government then.
Not only that, then you don't know if you're just looking at just the first option that comes to you, then it may not be the correct option. Explore all your options, maintain your status, show the trust in the government, go in and out of your time, explore your things, and then make decisions as to what you have to do. And that's the best way to make it successful.
Right. Thank you so much, Pallavi. This was an honor, and I'm looking forward to having these meetings with you and learning more about immigration from you, and who knows, maybe a little bit of law as well.
Thank you,
For
Aisha.
myself,
You
you're
were
welcome.
amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for hosting me, and I look forward to being back next week.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for everybody who joined in and send your questions. I want to let you know this is going to happen every Tuesday. So you're going to have a chance to, ask your questions, and we're going to be happy to address them over here. In the meantime, if you want to get more information about Pallavi, you can go to yourdesilawyer.com. There's a lot of information over there about her. This is more than 16 years of experience, and she keeps up to date with the latest immigration laws, family laws. So you're not going to be disappointed. They take it as a pride to solve your questions, your cases, anything that you're stuck at. But it's always better to do these things in a proper way, because this is a matter of your life. This is a matter of your, being here in the U.S. and living a comfortable life with peace of mind. Thank you again, Pallavi. It was an honor to have you. I'm going to sign off from here, and we're going to go towards a break, and we'll see you after a short break.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.